Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight. Today, I've been seeing a lot of things dealing with like energy, attracting like energy, and let's just put out nothing but good energy, because that way we get nothing but good energy back.
All right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't see it that way. I do think like energy is attracted to like energy on the same plane of existence.
Okay.
And on different planes of existence, opposites attract.
That makes sense to me. I don't know how far we can delve into that, but okay.
All right. Well, think about it like this. Imagine having a magnet that you can break in half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these two magnets, one, all the energy is traveling in the same direction there.
Okay. I'm following you so far.
Right. Energy comes out of the north, bends around, and goes back into the magnetic force.
Okay.
Makes sense? So
far.
everything on that one magnet, all the energy is going to go in the same direction. Like energy attracts like energy. Makes sense?
So far.
Now, if we look at our two magnets, to get the two magnets attracted to one another, you have to do opposite energies. Make sense?
Yeah, I remember doing that in school.
Right. You had to have your north and your south facing each other for the magnet to actually pull itself together.
Right.
So if
because otherwise they repel each other.
Right. Again, if we think about it like this, that the northern half of the Earth is one part of the sphere and the other half is the southern.
Okay.
Even in this situation, what you got in the north, all the water goes down counterclockwise, and in the south, it all goes clockwise.
Right.
So the energy flow in the north is slightly different than in the south.
Well, I guess some people don't realize that, but yeah.
Right. It's just a bigger whole entire concept of a magnet. Makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, because there's all kinds of magnetic flows and pulls within the Earth itself. So
right.
It's just one big magnet.
Right. So I don't have a problem with this concept when dealing with realities.
All right. But what if you're not dealing with realities?
Well, when we're dealing with like this reality and we talk about like energy, attracting like energy, what most people are talking about is if you're around someone and they're in a good mood, then you become in a good mood, right?
Most times, yeah.
Right. If you're around somebody that's in a bad mood, you yourself could become in a bad mood too.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
All right. Now, this is how this theory about like energy attracts like energy. If I have positive thoughts, then everybody around me will start having positive thoughts.
All right.
All right. But let's get a little bit more specific. Think about like high school. You had your jocks. The jocks hung out with jocks. The stoners hung out with stoners. All the geeks hung out with other geeks, so forth and so on. Right?
Right.
This is, again, another of this thing that makes people think like energy attracts like energy.
All right. That makes sense.
Basically, those who like country music will kind of gather together because over their like of country music.
Right.
This doesn't seem to be hitting you quite well, does it?
Well, no. I mean, I get it.
I mean, I know you get it, but what holes do you see in this problem?
For me, there's a balance. There's got to be a balance of energy. You can't just have strictly one type of energy.
Well, let's think about this for a second, okay? Let's think about the two people. We got one person in a good mood. You got one person in a bad mood, right?
Right.
Now, the thought there, again, like I said earlier, that is if you are in a bad mood and you go into a room and everybody's happy, the idea is that they'll make you happy, right? Just like if you go into a room of a bunch of depressed people, they'll make you sad.
Well, that's the idea, but...
That's the idea, all right? But there's a problem there. I have seen and I've experienced this myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people have. A person comes into your office or into your workplace and they're in a bad mood.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's 10 of you in this area,
Mm-hmm.
right? Counting the one person in a bad mood. So you got 9 against 1, right?
Right.
Now, according to like energy attracts like energy, this one person should not be able to make these other 9 people sad or depressed or even mad, right?
Right.
But that don't always happen, does it?
No.
Sometimes that one bad person can come in and infect all other 9 people. And the opposite's true. Those 9 people could be depressed, and that one happy person comes in and makes the whole place happy all of a sudden. Next thing you know, y'all were too busy joking around to realize how upset y'all were to start off with. I've seen that happen, especially after like you've had one of them meetings at work where the boss says something to piss everybody off.
Well, yeah, but isn't that basically the balance of energy that I was talking about?
Nope. According to the theory of like energy attracts like energy and manifest destiny, the 9 people should be able to outweigh the one person that's not in the same mood as everybody else.
Right, but like I was trying to say is that it doesn't always work that way because you've got to have that balance of good and bad or positive and negative energy. It's that whole yin and yang.
Well, quit thinking about balance and think about will. This is really a demonstration of who has the stronger will to influence reality. It has nothing to do with balancing energies or not energies, because again, energies on the same plane really do move together. We've already demonstrated that in the magnet. The energies we create might cause ripples in that.
Right.
This whole entire concept of like energy attracts like energy, that if you're in a good mood or if you're happy or you got positive thoughts, that means positive things are going to happen to you. It's not real on a metaphysic level. Psychologically, this concept works majority of the time.
Okay, well,
I'll give it at least 65%, maybe 7.
Look, I get what you're saying about the will.
Yeah.
But I still see it as there has to be a balance somewhere.
Well, again,
so I'm just saying, for every 3 times that somebody walks into a room of 10 people and those 10 people influence that one person, there's got to be at least one time when it's the opposite.
Yeah, but haven't you met them people, no matter what in the world's going on? If they're in a bad mood, they stay in a bad mood. If they're in a good mood, they stay in a good mood. Doesn't matter what in the world's going on.
Yeah.
Their will's strong enough not to allow other people to influence them.
All right, that makes sense.
All right, because again, when we talk about balances of energies and stuff like that and having to get into that, that's personal. These are subtle things that will affect you personally versus a group. Because again, we also have the whole entire concept of the horizon. And basically we tell people, hey, look, if you're depressed and you're looking from the horizon down, you're sending out your negative energies, it's hitting the earth, bouncing back onto you, making you even more depressed.
Right.
If you look out at the horizon and upwards, that sends that energy out and away from you. You're just sending all your negative energy to be recycled.
Right, and that's not just a theory. That I can tell you from experience. That works.
Yeah, but it works because when you're looking at the horizon up, it causes you to interact with people which then means your chances of interacting with someone who might have a stronger will than you to put you in a good mood.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you see how this don't work? Because again, we got these 9 people against 1. Right. And the way I understand manifest destiny is that these 9 people, believing the way that they do, should be able to influence the whole of reality in that one spot. But it doesn't always work. Make sense?
So yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just like okay, when you look at Manifest Destiny, you're going to see something that came out of the expansion of America to the West. It was an
Right.
excuse. It was a nice little catchphrase, the whole 9 yards. It's not real. It was just a manipulation of ethics and morals to make people feel like they're justified in doing this.
Right.
Does
And
it?
then
I
the phrase
think
got buried and then it got resurrected again. But
as a different concept. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is wrong or right. Does that make sense? I'm not
right.
judging the whole Manifest Destiny and expansion to the West in America. I'm glad we did it, and I love our country and the whole 9 yards. But that was an excuse to make these people feel justified and to get these people to move to the West and do this. It was a campaign. That was it. All right. But now we have people in the craft that want to take this concept and try to make it a reality. Basically, the idea goes, the more people you can get to believe in a concept will eventually completely, utterly alter reality.
All right, give me an example.
Sitting there and just by virtue of saying, for a man to stand there and say, I'm a woman, the idea behind this is that they automatically become a woman. And the idea of Manifest Destiny is if we can get enough people to believe this, it will come true. If we can get everybody in the world to believe that men can become women and women can become men just by snapping their fingers or by virtue of saying so, it's true. This is how this works. Supposedly.
Okay.
But it don't. Because there's no magic in the world other than the source itself that can alter the physical rules of nature and our universe.
Well, in that case, could it theoretically work on something that can be changed?
Yes, something that can be changed, yes. You can't sit there and believe yourself or get everybody else to believe that you're a fucking squirrel. You're not going to change a squirrel. You're still going to be a human. You just got a big fuzzy hat,
Right. And as a man, I can't get pregnant.
Right.
But if it was something...
But you could use affirmations and stuff like that to change your thoughts to, today I'm going to be a better person. Today I'm going to help somebody.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So in that sense, Manifest Destiny can be a reality.
Right. It does take some time depending on, affirmations and stuff like this. They work on a psychological level to continuously to remind yourself this is the way you want to be.
Okay, but that's not Manifest Destiny as you said it. That's just changing your reality. Manifest Destiny requires multiple people.
Right. It requires multiple people. The more people, the better. The idea is that larger amount will outweigh everybody else. It's the same argument we hear over initiation and self-initiation. You can sit there and claim self-initiation is real all damn day long. At the end of the day, those of us who do initiations, we don't believe it.
Right.
It's not going to alter anything. To us, it's never going to make self-dedication a viable, real, legit thing.
All right.
And again, this is just concept. So if you can't even change a concept, what makes you think you're going to actually be able to alter reality? You're never going to get the Muslim countries to believe the way you want to believe. You're never going to get Russia. You're never going to get anybody else in the world to believe exactly the way you do.
All right. So in that sense, it's also back to the original topic
of like
energy attracts like energy. Again, it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work. I mean, again, it's like the joke. You get 10 Southern Baptist deacons in the church and you ask them all what they think of one verse in the Bible. How many different answers are you going to get?
As many different deacons as you have.
Exactly. Because again, everybody thinks that when you're a part of a religion or part of a coven or whatever, that you have to think within inside these rails and you're not allowed to go outside of them.
Right.
But yet we keep on showing this is an out and out lie.
Right.
Right.
I mean, with most of the covens we know.
Well, most of the religions I know, there's
Yeah,
very few of them that rattle you on your knuckles because you didn't say enough Hail Marys.
right. But there are some that are really strict like that.
Oh, there are. I'm not saying that they're not. You know, I mean, we even have really strict pagan religions.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, let a man try to join a Dianic group.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say on that? You know, snowball's chance in hell. Do you understand how in the world this will never work? Manifest destiny don't work because there is that one person. Yes, these people that we're talking about might be few and far between, but there are a whole lot more of them than we give ourselves credit for.
Right.
Where they have a stronger will, I've seen people come in and influence from meetings to board meetings and stuff like that by just simple suggestions or comments.
So basically it does come down to, it's a matter of will.
Will alters reality. Again, it still cannot break the rules of reality. In other words, there's no spell, there's nothing that's going to make the sun work backwards.
Right.
There's no way you can sit there and pray a mountain away.
Or change the rotation of the earth, or it's,
right.
Anything along those lines.
Well, and again, everybody limits their consciousness. Like we sit here and we talk about the earth and its biosphere and its environment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's ecosystem. For some reason, everybody seems to think that our biosphere is where everything ends. They don't seem to realize that Mars and Pluto and the sun and even poor old Uranus way out there is part of our ecosystem. I mean, that this is part of our ecosystem, that our universe is actually part of this planet's ecosystem.
So they all influence the earth.
Right. Everything, because there's stuff outside our solar systems that influence those planets. Those planets often influence the way the earth moves around the sun, blah, blah, blah. Make sense?
Okay, yeah.
It's not disconnected. Again, when we're sitting there and you're sitting back going, okay, well, hey, what's our influence here? Oh, we're only influenced by the sun and the moon and our planets. No. We're influenced by a hell of a lot more than just that. By our constellations and stuff like that, we're influenced by a hell of a lot more. And if you think,
I was going to say, there's that science again.
Right. And if you think at a moment that all the people in the world believing that the universe, is going to work some other way, is going to change that, it's not. Make sense?
Yeah.
But no, I don't see how this works. It makes no sense to me. Because again, like I said, you still have those people that break the mold. So if you have if you have an exception to a rule like this, there's no use in having the rule.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say, was something along those lines, because there's always an exception to a rule.
Right. One exception is fine. But when you got 50 different exceptions, what's the point of the law?
Okay, yeah.
What's the point of the concept?
Yeah, because then you've changed everything.
Right, because you keep on making exceptions. I mean, it's like taking a concept, and if we think of a concept as like a recipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remove one or two ingredients out of that recipe is going to fail. So if you take a concept like manifest destiny and this like energy, and start showing, all this different things where it's not working, are those exceptions to the rule? If they are, how many do we have?
Right.
And to the point to where, the whole entire theory is absolutely useless.
And then what do you do? Come up with a new theory?
Exactly. You come up with a new theory. And my theory is that this like energy to like energy isn't like energy to like energy. It's stronger souls with a better sense of themselves and of their own will and what they want, overriding all these other people.
Yeah, I can see that.
You got that little mousy guy over there. Yes, I think that man and that woman can change to become a force of nature with a stronger will than the original person. There's nothing stopping anybody from doing this process.
No, absolutely not.
I will agree. Yes, someone has to be willing and ready to accept some of these concepts before they can actually start making changes.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no
Right.
you can't coerce somebody into it. They have to be willing.
You have to be willing. I mean, just like me and Brigantia, me and her have opposite views on this. I'm never going to get her to believe the way I believe by badgering her.
No, you're not.
You know, now again, one way or the other, me and her been going back and forth, giving little snippets of going, well, this is why I don't like this concept. This is why, why she does like this guy. I don't have a problem with this. This is just regular debate to me.
Right.
But it makes both our theories even better in the long run, I think.
Well, sure it does, because I mean, she's standing by what she believes in. You're standing by what you believe in, and you're clashing a little bit, but you're giving strong arguments.
Right.
And you're reinforcing your own beliefs.
Right. Now, on this like energy, for those who it works for a lot of times, and this is going to sound really ugly, and just to kind of keep people in their lanes, I guess, to a certain extent, just because you can influence your friends does not mean that you necessarily have a strong will. It just means you have a stronger will than your friends.
Right.
Just because I have a strong will and desire myself, I know there are people out there that have a stronger sense than I do.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. I know there are people that have stronger wills than I, and they could crush me in like 5 seconds.
Right.
But the point there is I don't want anybody sitting there going, well, you're discouraging people. Well, no, I'm not trying to discourage people. I'm trying to tell you there is a process. You have to figure out a way that's best for you to improve your will and your sense of your own individuality.
Right. You have to forge your own path on that.
Exactly. And I will end this with, the way I believe this really is. The best bet is to know thyself. Know what it is that you really want. Sitting there saying, hey, I want to be rich doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't give you a direction to go.
No, that's too vague. There's not enough details. I mean, rich could be anything.
Well, I mean, just like the word wealthy, what some people consider wealthy and what some people don't.
Right.
That's kind of like harm. What you might consider harm, somebody else might not.
True.
All right.
And then there's different levels of harm.
Trying to stay away from that, but I'm just saying that everybody's viewpoint is different.
Right.
To sit there and to assume something like the like energy or the manifest destiny works when you have all these other things in place, these other laws and stuff that we know we cannot break.
Right.
All right. Until we learn how to change XY DNA to XX DNA, men will always be men, women will always be women. And that is a staple of nature. Because we sit here and we say we worship nature, and what we mean is that we learn from nature. We look at nature for what the rules are.
Right. Nature teaches us
what we need to know.
Right.
And everything I've seen from nature, all mammals are either male or female. End of subject. Doesn't matter how many times you say it. Yes, there are people that can alter their body to look more like females. That's fine if that's what they want to do. No skin off my nose.
Right.
It's not me.
Right.
Things I think that can be changed: clothing, dress, the way we perceive that. When we were growing up, short hair for boys was the standard, and anybody who had long hair, big disaster. Correct?
And well,
we got picked on a lot for our long hairs, especially from our fathers or our grandfathers.
yeah, but from our peers, no.
No, from your peers, no. There were very few peers that did that, but the older generations where it was boys had short hair, girls have long hair, that was broke.
Yeah, I mean, my daddy never understood why I wanted my hair.
I mean, again, it's like to me, it's like wearing the earrings, guys wearing earrings.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cultural taboo. We broke it. Cultural things we can change.
Right.
I'm out of coffee. That's all I got to say about manifest destiny and like energy attracts like energy. And
thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning